the Diamond Street project and misconceptions as far as pairing it. They thought it was part of the Revitalize project, the Renews project from the grant program, and it's not. This is a $1.2 million transportation enhancement grant from the government through the county roads department. So this grant will be on Diamond Street only. They're going to do diagonal parking up and down the streets. They've had 2 community workshops in Rosamond already to get community input. I don't know if any of you guys are present at those meetings.
My understanding that the input should be done. That's going to go out for bid here.
Oh yeah, they're putting it out for bid, and they expect it to be completed by the September parade next year.
Cool.
They're going to redo the curbs. They're going to do driveways, planning on putting in planters and benches and trash cans and street lights and everything. This is going to be a great project and should really help out.
You say it will be done by next September?
That's what's drawn up right now. It's a very ambitious plan, obviously, but Diamond Street is right where the parade comes through.
Right.
And it'd be nice if by the end of September, when the parade comes around, brand new Diamond Street.
That would be shiny Diamond Street.
Yeah, that's all I want to touch on right now. And also, I wanted to mention, you guys might not remember, it was 2 months ago. You had a few road requests. There's not been much progress on Vern's request for the new lighting in front of the school. As of right now, the roads department is meeting with Caltrans and a bunch of people for Highway 58 Mojave right now.
Okay, flashing lights in the school can confirm, but
Okay,
we're not
actually,
that's an item.
for
So,
clarification on those lights, what
We don't want
I'm
It's an
referring
item.
to currently signs that along the roads and all that, the actual crosswalk, okay, along the lines for the crosswalk has little lights that when they push the button to cross, the lights blink.
Oh, so you
on
want
the
that?
pavement.
That's what you're talking about.
Right, not a sign, because that's not gonna make a difference.
Okay.
But they actually light up and flash. I just saw one down in Galleria in the parking lot.
Okay.
And then the traffic knows that someone's actually crossing the crosswalk regardless of the weather, darkness or whatever.
Okay. I now see that is on the agenda,
Right.
so I won't touch on that. But then Willie also mentioned the road leading up to West Park Elementary School.
Right,
And it's my understanding they sealed a lot of the cracks on that and came up with a sealer. And Jason's not here, but he had a couple requests about a couple neighborhoods where there's a lot of cracks.
Right.
And the county roads department spent 3 days here with their sealer, sealing up cracks on roads in a lot of roads.
which station are you talking about?
They were here,
Jason, not
Justin.
Jason.
or Justin, sorry. Justin,
Jason's here.
sorry.
I'm here.
Yeah, you didn't. Okay, so that's what I
All right.
mentioned. And now that I see that's there, we can talk about the Rosamond lights
All right.
later. Sorry about that.
I have one question about Diamond Street.
Yes.
There was rumor that there would be a tax on the businesses on Diamond Street for maintenance of the shrubbery and trash collection.
It has yet to be decided how that's going to be done.
Is it going to be done though?
Well, there's 2 different options. I think there's I'm not the expert on it.
Yeah.
But that would be one option. I think where the businesses would take over and be responsible for it. And the other option, I think they were, I actually don't know what the other option is in detail. But I think there would be another entity would come in and take responsibility. So I'd have to find out the answer for you, I don't
Okay.
know, because nothing's decided yet. That's the problem.
Right. And no estimated cost of the whole, of how much it'll cost to fund the whole?
The maintenance?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. A lot of the maintenance is going to be done by the county. I think the part that's on county, area.
Yeah.
But I don't have an answer for you yet. Until we have the actual project approved with the details, because we don't even know right now how many streetlights there are going to be, or how many trash cans.
Yeah.
So until we have the details, and probably until construction commences and they make a lot of progress, we're not going to know maintenance costs.
Okay. Keep us informed.
Thank you.
Starting 2 months ago, I got here. My background is I worked here back from 93 to 98. Seen Olaf a lot of times in court back in the days, or my clients did too. So, but I come back. I left Rosamond and went to detectives. Basically, I went to TAF first, then I went to detectives. Worked a little homicide, promoted up, and made sergeant, worked patrol again, and then I went back to what I really like to do, which is narcotics, and became the sergeant for major narcotics enforcement. And for the past 4.5 years, that's what I've been doing. So I have a really good grasp of a little bit of everything. I've had burglary detectives, homicide detectives, sex crimes detectives, checks, but mostly in the end was a lot of narcotics. And the reason I left narcotics is there's a time limit for the amount time that supervisors can be in units, which is 4 years. So my time came up and I picked Rosamond because this has been my favorite assignment when I started. I enjoyed Taft, I like detectives, I like Bakersfield, but I really like Rosamond. This community, I know it's a lot different than any other place I've worked because you guys are so far from Bakersfield. But the volunteers out here, the citizen volunteer unit is every bit as active as the whole unit of Bakersfield, from what I've seen. They're very active. And the reserve unit, the reserves are utilized out here. We used to have 8, I think, but now I think we only have 2 or 3 left that are real active. But they come out almost on a weekly basis and help us out. So far, I've concentrated, since I've got here, I'm just trying to get my feet settled and figuring out what's going on and training up some of my deputies and recruiting some other deputies. We are getting another deputy within the month. We'll have another deputy.
We'll bring a number to.
What's that?
But will that bring the total number of deputies?
He's actually switching out because a guy is leaving that is going back to Bakersfield. But we'll have 10 deputies, 2 seniors, and me as a sergeant. And I'll probably be more of a working sergeant than you guys have had for a little while due to the fact I'm going to basically live here. So I pulled my trailer out here. So much for my toy hauler that I used 3 times in 8 years. Now I'm living in it. So along with some of the like the solar and wind places getting wires stolen, which is common throughout the whole county. However, we got our CSU people had patrolled out there and got the citizens aware of what's going on, and I think we ended up getting a vehicle pursuit maybe, I guess it's been 2 or 3 weeks ago, recovered like a $20,000 trailer loaded with wire and stuff that they abandoned. Did a search warrant out there on a house, and I think we've nipped most of that in it, but we haven't had many burglaries reported ever since then. But those burglaries were pretty bad, whereas they were just kicking the door in and going in, or coming up right to the side of the house while people are in their house and stealing the truck off the side of the house and driving it away with the trailer on one occasion. So they were pretty brazen. We kind of felt that they knew the area, and it turns out our suspect kind of did. The problems I've seen so far that your community has compared to, there's some good and bad, compared to the big city of Bakersfield and probably Lancaster. Your narcotics out here, obviously, you have a meth problem. The deputies have made over 60 arrests in 2 months since I've been here. Anything from possession to sales for under the influence. But this last 2 weeks ago, DEA finished a 3-year investigation, 3-year investigation that the community here probably didn't know about, but went all the way from San Diego all the way through here. And one of the main guys was up here on off of United. They arrested him. He was a multi-pound dealer who really affected this town. And now that he's in custody, I can tell you through working with informants and stuff, it has made a big difference. There shouldn't be a lot of people coming to your town to get methamphetamine. I can't stop the users from going there, but if we can stop the big dealers, that'll be my number 1 goal. Your high school students, from what I understand, the difference between here and Bakersfield in the last few years has just been pulverized by OxyContin, which is a prescription drug that the kids would get. They had a few doctors over there, it seemed, would give you a prescription almost as much as one of these marijuana dealers guys would, just basically for anything. A lot of OxyContin. Then they discovered this drug could be smoked, and highly addictive, just like heroin. DEA finally got on board. They have controlled Oxy really well now, whereas they make it where you can't break it down to smoke it. It's a time-released thing, and it's very regulated. The problem was all those kids that got on Oxy now couldn't get Oxy, and so the heroin dealers were able to convince them, well, if you just smoke a little heroin, you won't be addicted to heroin like someone who injects it. But that's not true. The kids were all of a sudden all over Rosedale. We had Rosedale kids that are 20-some years old, all strung out on heroin. But there is a problem with Oxy in your high school right now. We're working on it. It's not major, like I think. It's not a major problem, like I said, like Bakersfield. You're going to have some pill cases in all cities, but you don't have the heroin problem that you have in Bakersfield, and that is a blessing. Heroin people tend to have more thefts on their record than anything else. So I would like to keep that where you're at. Somehow you guys have miraculously not had that Oxy problem that other places have had, and I can tell you it is just so devastating to the families. To get a kid off Oxy is every bit as hard as getting a heroin addict off heroin. It's the same thing, basically. It's just a pure form, if I could say that. But you really don't have that problem that much. We have got a couple contacts with it. We will work it, and I'll keep with the school officials on what to look for, things to look for with kids that are on Oxy. Let me see. The marijuana complaints. I've had a few complaints on the dispensaries, the citizens who call in. My unit in Bakersfield assisted the Board of Supervisors in getting the Measure G passed and written. We helped County Council with the statistics they needed to get that bill in place. The complaints we've had on the dispensaries mainly are, if you're not aware, LA County has shut down their dispensaries. So now you have just a ton of people coming up here to these 3 dispensaries to get marijuana. We've had people calling in that the vehicles pull out in front of them because it's a busy business. There's cars going in and out of there. Went to a burglary alarm there, or actually was an accidental trip for a robbery alarm on the way. Pulled over the person coming out of the business, thinking it may be the suspect. It was a guy that was just so stoned that I don't know how he could drive. So it used to be they couldn't smoke inside these businesses. There wasn't a law, it's just that the businesses didn't allow it. But they're definitely, from what I've seen so far, some of these are letting people smoke inside the businesses. And if they drive, it's no different than a DUI driver. Marijuana affects your ability to judge distance, so what's more important than when driving a car. So we're working on that too. We're going to work on the dispensaries and get a feel with the public's welcome to call in. They have, and we're going to find out what the zoning is, etc. But I've got code enforcement. I've talked with code enforcement already, and they are working with me on the dispensaries to see which ones can remain open, if they can remain open, and the areas where they can remain open.
Started out with the new biz grant program. We got 10 grants for the Rosamond area, about 58,000. The chamber applied for 1 grant, and it was just under 10,000 we got. So we're going to paint the building, paint a mural on the south side of the building, and install a new flagpole. So we've been pretty busy. We have like 46 members at this time. We did our Christmas parade on December 7th. It was very windy that afternoon. Tried to dump on us, but it turned out real well, and Olaf was our MC. And it seemed like everybody was pretty happy. So we've had a very busy 9 months. It's just been very positive. I think next year will be even better.
So who's the president, and then who do you have for board of directors, and when's your next meeting?
Well, we're looking at holding our meetings here before the RMAC. I did not get notifications.
It's all done now. I finished it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll be having.
You guys did.
Okay.
We'll be having our meetings here at 5:30 for 1 hour before you guys have your meetings. And then a special thanks to the solar people, which made my job so much easier this year, because they helped with donations and helped put on our events, which is a big part of the change. Thank you.
Terry, I have one question about the Renew Biz cycle. When does it start again in 2014?
Well, they haven't really told us yet. We're sort of thinking sometime in the spring, because that's when they started the last cycle. The last cycle got delayed a couple of months, so that's why it got pushed back. And they're also supposed to be sending out the paperwork, I think, so that people can receive the money.
Have they announced how much they're going to have in the pot to distribute this year?